Praise be to Jesus. Hi again, everyone. Charles here with you. Um, there's been some happenings here at the Synod, and of course, it's Friday afternoon there. And this article that I'm getting this information from is like 10 hours old already. And the final vote, paragraph by paragraph, will take place tomorrow sometime. So at this point, it won't be very long until we know exactly what's happening. Um, but what seems to have happened here is that although they were going to take out the letters LGBT um, in some sort of sneaky way, the letters haven't been put back, those letters. But they're talking about some other kind of language here that they're going to insert. So, what they're going to do, or what seems to be what they're going to do at this point in time, is to give recognition to a particular group of people whose sexuality is orientated in a certain way. And of course, this would be a first, nothing like this has ever happened before. Just as a side note, which really isn't a side note at all, it's really extremely significant, and a lot of you might not be aware of this, is that the function of a synod has changed under this papacy. The final document, although whatever it is, it goes to the Pope, and of course the Pope can change whatever he wants in it, But what the big deal here is that this becomes part of the magisterium of the Church, where before it wasn't that way at all. So the Pope has given these synods the power to, with his approval, the power to form magisterium. And, this is, to me, this is frightening. The next one, this Pan-Amazonian one, is going to bring up married priests, I think, and I'm not sure exactly. I don't think female. I don't know. We'll have to see. But married priests. And so let's just move ahead to next year. And if if this synod in the Pan-Amazonian region votes for married priests, then that becomes part of the magisterium of the Church. In other words, what a group of people do in one part of the world with the Pope's approval can become binding on the whole Church. And this is something, really, really new. If you think about that, and the way the Pope can load the members, like, in other words, who gets to vote in the synod, it all seems very loaded. Well, we'll just leave it at that. So anyway, this really reminds me of the last presidential election, where Hillary Clinton was supposed to win, but when the chips were on the table, she didn't. So, we'll have to see what happens. There could be, this could change again. This is just what's being talked about and what seems to be happening at this point in time. We're such creatures of the five senses. It's so easy just to put aside the supernatural life, but all what's going on is very supernatural. It's good versus evil. This is the fight in the synod. If it comes to be that the people with a gay lifestyle are somehow separated out and given recognition in a certain way, then it's because we haven't given Jesus what he needs to change things, to change it the way it's supposed to be, or to do what needs to be done. And, that's our own fault. There's not enough people that care, not enough people to, not enough prayers to be offered. And so all this, if this is what comes to be, then all this is a good example of that. Two things. One, enough. The first one being that we don't seem to care enough, and there's not enough of us who care, who are offering enough prayer, fasting, and sacrifice to really to get those clergy who are really against Pope Francis's agenda, to really support them, to stand up, speak out, and push back. And that's really what we need. You see, that really hasn't happened. A few bishops here and there, a few cardinals here and there will do that. But, they don't really have the support of their brothers. So what? A few cardinals talk up. Well, the Pope just disregards them. It's not that big a deal, because I think he realizes, and the Vatican realizes, that most people, in other words, most baptized Catholics support the Pope. That's the first thing. The other thing is that he sees not very many of the clergy are really pushing back. They're not making a big deal. There aren't the numbers of clergy speaking up. And, and that really has something to do with our support. In other words, the laity, the way the laity can make a difference is through prayer, fasting, and sacrifice. And then Jesus will raise up these people, raise up the priests and the bishops and the cardinals to stand up and push back. But there's really nothing that has happened since this papacy began that really gives you any idea that this is all, this is either taking place, it hasn't taken place, it's not taking place, and it's probably not going to take place. I mean, you could say, oh, you're being pessimistic. Well, I mean, if the laity doesn't want to do their part, then we're just going to get, steamrolled here, and we're going to sit back. And yeah, I mean, individuals of us can pray and fast and, whatever. We can do our part. At the same time, we realize that the best we're going to do is maybe slow things down. There really isn't the element, the support in the laity to raise up, get priests and bishops and, cardinals to really push back here. So we're just going to sit back and, stew in our own juice, so to speak. So I guess we'll just see what happens tomorrow. You could read this article if you want, it's just all this stuff is just frightening. It's just, okay, well, I mean, I think I've made the point I wanted to make here with this, so, geez, boy, I get to talk, and I think I'm talking like for 3 minutes, and it's coming up on 10 minutes already. Well, all right, here, we'll talk to you later, bye.